Final word. 19 months ago, the whole boxing community looked forward to the arrival of a powerful new enterprise which promised a chance to restore boxing to broader exposure and greater sports world prominence, more in keeping with its glorious past. More than $500 million in venture capital was stockpiled to be put to use in a daring plan to buy prime time on a wide variety of television networks. The series would be called Premier Boxing Champions. The goal was to demonstrate there was an unobserved audience that would erupt to ultimately incentivize those television networks to reverse the equation and pay for the fights. As many as 200 fighters bought in, among them some of the most accomplished young fighters on the planet: Keith Thurman, Adrian Broner, Danny Garcia, Adonis Stevenson, and Mikey Garcia were all potential top 10 pound-for-pound guys who had been given main event exposure here on HBO. Deontay Wilder had already won a heavyweight belt. The pièce de résistance, Errol Spence, came off the 2012 United States Olympic team. Could it really only have been a year and a half? Seems longer. And maybe because despite the extraordinary accumulation of talent and the seeming abundance of money, competitive fights like Leo Santa Cruz versus Abner Maris and Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter have been few and far between. For the most part, PBC stars have been given faint-hearted matchups against lackluster opponents, followed by long layoffs with predictable results in TV ratings and advertising sales. You might have thought that Spence's windfall audience of more than 6 million viewers in the NBC time slot just prior to Rio's closing ceremony would have given PBC a rejuvenative bounce. But in late September, NBC announced that 2 primetime PBC cards in December were dropped for now, and along with them, 3 shows on NBC Sports Network. For the last 3 months of 2016, there are no scheduled PBC shows. If PBC disappears, there'll be an urge to see that as a devastating loss. In truth, it was predictable. Nearly 40 years of delivery via subscription channels like this one and our primary competitor have accustomed boxing's audience to seeing a continuous story, uninterrupted by commercials. On commercial television, the mini dramas in the corners between rounds are visible only as tape flashbacks. As live entertainment, it's not the same thing. Boxing's next shot in the arm will emerge gradually as the high-profile and highly skilled fighters on the PBC roster begin to achieve free agency and reintegrate into the upper landscape. In the best of all possible worlds, someday Thurman and Spence will match up with Terrence Crawford. Deontay Wilder will fight Anthony Joshua, and Adonis Stevenson will at long last face Sergey Kovalev. The path to that goal will require the unique brand of ingenuity, bravery, and passion that fuels real boxing promoters. People who are capable of doing one of the world's hardest jobs. As we can now see, there's a great deal more to it than merely raising and spending $500 million. Thanks for being with us on this edition of The Fight. Be on the lookout in the